Okay, so here's a question for you. Have you ever, really thought about the global journey of something super simple, like a toothpick?
Huh. Probably not top of mind for most people, right? Just a little piece of wood or plastic.
Exactly. But what if I told you this tiny, humble item, it's actually part of a global market, and one that's projected to be worth nearly $900 million by 2033?
Wow, okay. That's actually pretty substantial.
Right. And it's driven by some really surprising regional dynamics, consumer shifts, things you'd probably never connect to a toothpick.
That makes sense, though.
So today we're doing a deep dive. We've got this comprehensive market report from Cognitive Market Research. It covers the global toothpick market projections from 2021 right through to 2033.
Good.
And our mission really is to pull out the key insights, the important bits of knowledge from this report for you listening in.
Excellent.
Seriously, who knew the humble toothpick had such a fascinating multi-million-dollar global story?
Well, it's funny, isn't it? Because these seemingly small, almost overlooked commodities,
Hmm.
they can actually tell us a lot about bigger economic trends.
Oh, so
Shifts in consumer behavior,
yeah.
development patterns. What's fascinating here is how these basic products can be like a window into how different continents are developing how people are consuming things.
A window. I like that. Okay, so let's start with that big picture then, the global view.
Right.
So the report states the global market value back in 2021 was already valued at 588.112 million, almost $590 million.
Barely 600 million.
Okay, and it's climbing.
Right.
By 2025, the projection is $674.872 million. So over $670 million.
Mm-hmm.
And then the forecast for 2033, get this, $888.677 million. Nearly $890 million.
Wow. So it's not a flash in the pan, it's steady growth.
Exactly. It's this consistent upward trend, and it's driven by a steady compound annual growth rate, the CAGR, of about 3.5%.
Right, 3.5%. And, for a product that's been around, well, forever,
Yeah.
centuries practically, a consistent 3.5% growth isn't just static demand.
What does it suggest then?
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, it points towards, evolving consumer habits, maybe new uses beyond just after dinner.
Huh, like crafts or something.
Could be. Or just increased market penetration, getting into places they weren't commonly used before. To just development, changing spending patterns, not just more of the same.
That's a really insightful way to look at it. Okay, so if the global market's growing steadily, where's the action happening? Let's maybe zoom into the regions.
Good idea.
Let's start with the sort of established markets. North America and Europe, we often think of them as, mature, maybe slower growth.
Right. The more developed economies.
Yeah. But even here, the report throws up some interesting details. North America, its market size was over $207 million in 2021.
Okay.
And that's projected to climb to over $295 million by 2033. That's a CAGR of 2.953%, so nearly 3%.
Still solid growth for a mature market.
Definitely. And the U.S., no surprise, is the big player there. It was $167 million in 2021, heading towards $226 million by 2033. Its own CAGR is about 2.7%.
Makes sense. Largest economy in the region.
But here's where it gets really interesting, digging into the North American numbers. Canada. Pretty solid growth, 3.9% CAGR.
Okay. Decent.
But Mexico,
Right.
while it's a smaller market overall, starting at about $18.7 million in 2021, its growth rate is the strongest in North America. It's projected to hit over $36 million by 2033.
Get out. Really?
Yeah. That's a CAGR of 4.118%, higher than both the U.S. and Canada.
Huh. Now that raises an important question, doesn't it? What could be driving that? What demographic or maybe cultural shifts are fueling Mexico's faster growth compared to its, bigger neighbors?
Exactly. What did the report suggest there?
Well, the analysis points to a couple of key things for Mexico. One is a noticeable increase in tourism and just dining out generally. That boosts demand in restaurants, hotels, that kind of thing.
Ah, the hospitality sector. Makes sense.
Right. And secondly, there seems to be a growing focus on oral hygiene awareness,
Yeah.
particularly in cities that are growing fast. So more people are buying them for home use, too.
So a combo of commercial and household demand lifting it up.
Precisely. Those factors together seem to be creating this accelerated growth that makes Mexico stand out in the region.
Fascinating. That really shows how you can't just paint a whole region with one brush. Okay, so that's North America. What about Europe? Do we see similar sort of internal variations there?
Absolutely. Europe's another nuanced picture. The overall market revenue was about $156.4 million in 2021,
Okay.
and that's projected to grow to nearly $219 million by 2033. The CAGR there is a bit lower than North America's overall, 2.873%, about 2.9%.
Still growing steadily, though. And who's leading the charge in Europe?
Germany, it's the largest contributor, started at over $36.5 million in 2021, and it's expected to rise to almost $54 million by 2033.
And its growth rate.
Germany's CAGR is about 3.2%, so a
Yeah.
bit above the European average. The report links that to its strong consumer market and, again, a really big food service industry.
Okay. But you mentioned nuances. Are there big differences within Europe?
Oh, definitely. The report highlights some real contrasts. You've got the UK, for instance, showing pretty robust growth. Its CAGR is almost 4%, 3.957%.
Higher than Germany's?
Yeah. And Luxembourg, maybe surprisingly, also had solid performance, about 3.5% CAGR.
Okay.
But then you look at somewhere like Denmark. Its growth is much slower. It has the lowest regional CAGR, actually at just 1.695%, barely 1.7%.
Huh. Why the big difference between, say, the UK and Denmark? What's the report's take?
This is where you really see local preferences and economic factors kicking in. For the UK and Luxembourg, it seems to be a mix of dining culture. Maybe toothpicks are just more common after meals there, plus good economic stability supporting spending.
Right.
Denmark, on the other hand,
Yeah.
the lower growth might be because people there are adopting other things more readily,
Yeah.
like interdental brushes, floss picks, that sort of thing.
Ah, alternatives.
Exactly. And perhaps less cultural emphasis on toothpicks in restaurants.
Yeah.
Suggests a more mature, diversified oral care market might be impacting traditional toothpick use.
So even within Europe, established markets, you get these really distinct patterns. It's not uniform at all.
Not at all. Local conditions really matter, even for something this simple.
Incredible. Okay, let's shift gears now. Away from the established markets, towards regions with, well, more dynamic growth. Asia Pacific comes to mind.
Ah, yes, APAC. Definitely a key region here.
The report shows a really robust trajectory for Asia Pacific. It was valued at over $135 million back in 2021.
Okay, all right, quite large.
Yeah, and forecasted to reach nearly $218 million by 2033. That's expanding at a strong CGR of 3.918%, almost 4%.
So faster growth overall than North America or Europe.
Exactly. And within APAC, China, as you'd expect, it's a massive player. Started at over $45 million in 2021, projected to hit over $76 million by 2033.
And its growth rate.
China's CAGR is impressive too, 4.258%, so powering a lot of that regional growth.
Makes sense given the scale.
But here's a real headline from the report for Asia Pacific. India. India is spotlighted as having the leading growth rate within APAC, an impressive 4.956% CAGR, nearly 5%.
Wow, okay. That's significant.
Yeah. Going from about $13 million in 2021 up to a projected $23.4 million by 2033.
That's almost doubling in that time frame.
Pretty much. And Singapore also shows promising growth, over 4% CAGR. And Southeast Asia as a whole is strong, around 4.4% CAGR. So what does this all mean? What's driving the surge across such huge, diverse populations?
Well, if we connect this back to that bigger picture again, the sheer scale combined with these high growth rates in places like India and China, it really points to major shifts in consumer power.
Okay.
The report suggests a few key drivers. You've got a rapidly growing middle class, right?
Yeah.
More disposable income. You've got massive urbanization happening, which means more modern shops, more restaurants, more exposure to different products and habits.
Right. Availability increases.
Exactly. And maybe a gradual adoption of global dining habits, too. For India specifically, the report mentions growing awareness of oral hygiene. Plus, crucially, the wide availability of really low-cost toothpicks.
Ah, so affordability is key there too.
Very much so. In these incredibly populous regions, even a tiny increase in how often one person uses a toothpick translates into huge market growth just because of the numbers involved.
It's staggering when you think about it like that, the power of scale. Okay, so APAC is clearly a major growth engine. What about South America? How does it compare?
South America shows more moderate growth, according to the report. Its CAGR is about 3.123%.
Okay, so closer to the European average.
Yeah. The market size was around $34.7 million in 2021, projected to reach just over $49.4 million by 2033.
And the main player there?
Brazil. It's the largest market, and its growth is a bit stronger than the regional average, about 3.7% CAGR.
So what's the story in South America? Is it similar drivers to Asia or different?
That's a good point. The report suggests it's a bit different. In South America, especially Brazil, the growth seems to be more about sustained demand in the existing food service sector restaurants, bars, places where toothpicks are already common.
Right.
And maybe a gradual increase in home use as products get distributed more widely. It feels more like a steady organic expansion in a market where toothpicks are already pretty well established in daily life, rather than the kind of explosive adoption we see in parts of Asia.
Okay, steady but not spectacular. Got it. And then there's the Middle East. How does that region fit into the puzzle?
The Middle East shows stronger growth again. Its CAGR is nearly 4%, 3.996%.
So similar to Asia Pacific's overall rate.
Pretty close, yeah. It was valued at around $30 million in 2021 and is projected to hit about $47.7 million by 2033.
And key players driving that.
The report highlights countries like Saudi Arabia, with a KGR around 4.2%, and the UAE even slightly higher at about 4.3%.
Okay, so what's fueling the growth there? Is it the same middle-class story as Asia or something else?
There are some distinct drivers in the Middle East. Yes, rising incomes and urbanization play a role, like elsewhere. But the report really emphasizes the booming hospitality and tourism sector, especially in the Gulf countries.
Ah, so hotels, fancy restaurants.
Exactly. All those new developments significantly boost the commercial demand for things like toothpicks. Plus, the report mentions cultural norms around cleanliness and presentation, along with a large expatriate population, contributing to both business and household use.
So a blend of that high-end service industry boom and urban lifestyle changes.
That seems to be the picture, yes.
All right. We've covered North America, Europe, Asia Pacific, South America, the Middle East, which brings us to the final region. And honestly, this is where I found the data most striking: Africa.
Ah, yes. Africa. The growth numbers there are quite something.
Right. The report positions Africa as the region with the strongest growth momentum globally. It's outpacing everyone else significantly.
It really stands out.
The market was relatively small in 2021, about $24.7 million, but it's projected to surge to over $60 million by 2033.
Okay. And that translates to a remarkable CGR of 7.717%, over 7.5%.
Wow. That's nearly double the global average, isn't it?
It is. It really makes you sit up and take notice. What is going on there?
It's definitely the big headline growth story.
And digging deeper within Africa, two countries really stand out as powerhouses. South Africa leads the pack, not just in Africa, but globally, with the highest regional CGR we've seen anywhere, an astounding 8.372%.
8.4%. That's huge for any consumer good.
Incredible. It's going from about $11 million in 2021 to potentially over $28.6 million by 2033. And Nigeria is also showing incredibly strong growth, 7.32% CAGR, expanding from $9.6 million to over $22 million.
So South Africa and Nigeria are really driving that continental average up.
Hugely. So the big question, why? Why is Africa experiencing this, well, explosive surge in the toothpick market far beyond any other region? What does the report say? Yeah, Africa's growth is, as you say, explosive, almost double the global rate. And the report suggests it's down to a confluence of factors, sort of a perfect storm for basic consumer goods in developing economies with young populations.
You're right.
Okay, first you've got rapid urbanization happening across the continent. And alongside that, the expansion of modern shops, supermarkets, restaurants, places where toothpicks are sold and used. So basic accessibility is increasing.
You're right. They're just there more often.
Exactly. Second, there's a growing emphasis on hygiene and personal care. This might be partly driven by public health campaigns, but also just rising consumer awareness as incomes and education levels improve. And third, even though disposable incomes might still be low overall, as they do slowly rise, even small, inexpensive purchases like toothpicks become more frequent. It's about market penetration.
So reaching consumers who maybe didn't use them or couldn't easily get them before?
Precisely. Africa has this vast, relatively untapped consumer base. For a simple, low-cost item like a toothpick, it's hitting this sweet spot of increasing availability, rising hygiene awareness, and just enough economic growth to make it a regular purchase for more people.
A prime example of how a nascent market can just take off for basic goods as it develops.
Exactly that. Exponential growth potential unlocked.
Wow. That really puts it all into perspective. The sheer power of market penetration and those initial stages of rising income. Okay, so let's try and bring all these threads together for you, our listener.
Let's do it.
We've seen this picture of consistent overall growth in the global toothpick market, steady expansion. But underneath that, you have these really dynamic regional stories, Asia Pacific and especially Africa emerging as these major growth accelerators.
Like the hotspots.
While North America and Europe, the more mature markets, are still growing solidly, but with their own internal variations and, well, surprises, like Mexico.
Mm-hmm. So what does this all mean for you, the person listening? Why should you care about toothpick market data?
Good question.
Well, these numbers, they aren't just about toothpicks, are they? They're like a micro story, a miniature reflection of huge global economic shifts.
Okay.
They show us how consumer behavior is evolving differently around the world. They show the dynamic nature of markets, how even the most, unassuming everyday products are constantly in flux.
So looking at toothpicks helps us see bigger patterns.
Exactly. By dissecting something this specific, this niche, you can actually observe these broader trends playing out. Patterns of economic development, shifts in consumer priorities, where economic vitality is really surging.
Across different continents.
Right. It helps you spot where new opportunities might be emerging globally or where challenges lie. It shows how these seemingly small data points can actually be really indicative of larger economic forces. It's about learning to see the global economy through a different lens, maybe a smaller, sharper one.
A smaller, sharper lens. I like that. What an absolute eye-opener this has been.
It's fascinating stuff, isn't it?
Truly. Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the, frankly, surprisingly dynamic world of toothpicks. Who knew? A market nearing $900 million by 2033, revealing so much about our changing planet.
It really makes you pause and think, doesn't it? And maybe it raises an important question for you to ponder. If the humble toothpick market holds such fascinating insights into global economic shifts, into cultural changes, what other everyday, seemingly mundane items out there might be hiding equally dynamic, equally surprising global economies? Economies just waiting for someone to do a deep dive.
That's a great thought to leave people with. We really encourage you, start observing, look for those hidden economies, those unexpected growth stories, maybe in the things you use every single day.
You might be amazed at what's lurking beneath the surface of the ordinary.
Absolutely. Until next time, keep digging.